Touring Cup, a single-class sprint racing series. 12 to 15 minutes is our race duration now, and here we go. Green flag flies, and we're racing at Circuit of the Americas. And already Luke McGrew looks to the inside, 3 wide, caught the front row sleeping. We're going to be 3 abreast into turn 1 here, Matt.
Yeah, Luke really did jump out there, and he got a nice jump on this, but he has to park it on that apex going in so narrow, so let's see if he can get a good run out, and he does.
Okay run. He might grab second from Matan Rosenberg, but it's a 3-3-0 that slides to the front. That's Eric Magnuson. Jensen is going to lose a spot there to Tony Marchev, but Luke McGrew's into second place. Rosenberg third, then James Houghton in fourth. That's the critical pass for Luke to complete, is on that 41, who's really been the only driver to challenge him this weekend. Yeah,
and we'll see how defensive maybe Eric gets when he gets up there. We know he has a ton of talent from his background in NASA, and he's won a number of championships, so he's not going to be an easy pass, and he may hold him up, and Houghton may have a chance to get past Matan and start to fight him before Luke gets thrown away.
A little deeper in the field there. The white car is James Cathers, Michael Hilo, Eric Jensen, Tony Marchev, and then the green car, Mike McGinnis. Great scrapping back here for what seems to be about 6th place. As we head down to turn 11, it's Rosenberg alongside James Houghton. Houghton on the attack, Rosenberg on the defense. Defensive line there from Cathers into the hairpin at 11 on Julio Crispin and others. As now they're going to rocket up the back straightaway here. And we'll see if that 330 BMW can keep the 7 in the mirror. I don't know that he's been ahead of Luke yet, so this is a matchup we have yet to see.
Yeah, it should be interesting. And another car that's a bit further forward than I think we've seen throughout the weekend is that Subaru of Mike McGinnis up there in 5th place. All-wheel drive cars definitely more of a less frequent thing here in GLTC, so it's great to see him running up there.
Yeah, it's something a little different. There's 2 cars in the field that have all-wheel drive. Adam Wood is the other, and a white Impreza top of the screen. But that is an advantage in a particular circumstance. I think sometimes it is a disadvantage, but Luke McGrew is on the attack here for the lead, and he would like to go 4 for 4. I think his weekend sweep has only been done maybe twice in GLTC history, and he's trying to line up to be the 3rd driver to do so and potentially win his 2nd ever event weekend. The only weekend he's ever won before was Circuit Legends last year. He'd like to do it again. James Houghton, though, not too far back. Matt, he's coming with a vengeance.
Yeah, and the more of these little outside looks there, the longer he takes to make the move on Magnuson, that's going to let Houghton get up closer and closer. And if Houghton gets lucky, he could get both of them at once if those 2 are scrapping in a way that slows him down too much.
I think James felt that last race he might have won had he not made a mistake at turn 12. That was a critical point in the race that he just slipped the slightest bit. Luke was able to take advantage of it. But now it's a different horse up at the front. It's the 3-3-0 of Eric Magnuson. Now a little background there. Hilo a bit wide. Vitas Aronowskis to his inside. That's the yellow and red car at the very top of the screen. Then McGinnis and Tony Marchev up the hill towards turn 1.
Yeah, let's see how he does on the brakes here. Those S2000s are definitely known to be very strong on the brakes, but it looks like he wasn't able to get the run up the hill to get the move on the inside.
Yeah, Eric Jensen is sizing all of it up out the windshield here as they head down the hill towards turn 2. This is usually flat in the car that is set up to do so. Some of the cars without aero might have to lift just for confidence as the lead battle is getting tight again through the S's. A little slip there for Luke, and James Houghton is all over the back here. If James passes Luke, that's game on, but it's also going to give Magnuson a chance to run away.
Yep, absolutely. I think Luke may be safe for the weekend win if that's what he's focused on. I know the points standings for this year for the season points has changed, and you want every race to matter. So it's a matter of what's going on inside of Luke's head. How aggressive does he want to be to potentially get past Magnuson, or is he just satisfied with the weekend victory and maybe getting a 2nd or 3rd here?
Yeah, 3 wins and pole are certainly going to lock up that. I don't know that there's a way that he can lose it now that he's past Tech 4 to finish in race 3, but it's still going to matter in the grand scheme of things, as you pointed out. So there's something to race for. The question is how much and how hard you want to do that now. It's got a long season ahead, so that's something to consider. Back on board with Jensen, growing through the years, dogbox 4-speed in this car. It's a little bit like a stock car as he chases Tony Marchev up the straightaway. And here comes Luke McGrew for the lead, side by side with Eric Magnuson. Now it's a braking duel here into turn 12.
I think we've seen it a number of times. Magnuson has some great brakes on that car, and it was able to get it woed up, but just a little too deep. Well, so Luke's going to be able to sneak his way through.
Can he keep the door open into 13? A little bit of a lunge there for Magnuson. He's going to keep it tight and complete the pass again. And here comes McGrew. He's going to open overlap to the left this time. Going to get squeezed onto the rumbles here. Side by side into 14 and 15. This is a really hard pass to make.
This may play out well for Houghton if he's able to get a run better off this corner than the 2 cars ahead, but he may just make this a 3-horse battle around the carousel.
Well, it absolutely is now. Magnuson going to try to slide through. McGrew offline, had a bit of a wiggle, and here comes James Houghton in the K-Tune TSX. He is all over the back of Luke McGrew here, battling for 2nd place. Now, James cannot win the weekend, but I think there's a personal victory here if he can just get by to 7 and finish a race ahead of him.
Look at these guys, too wide. They're potentially going to let Magnuson get away a little bit if they're fighting through too many of these corners. there's some gamesmanship you have to play, thinking about how often you want to fight with the person you're racing with to let either someone ahead of you get away or someone behind you catch up. So they may need to get this sorted out so they go back after Magnussen.
Yeah, and already you can see the difference that has made. Maybe 10 car lengths here. James chasing Luke over across the road here a bit, up the hill towards turn 1, over under potentially from Houghton. He's going to go the long way around. If he can get the power down, he used more of the road this time than he did at 12 when he lost the race to Luke. So now it's going to be a run down the hill. And James committing in a big way here through turn 2.
These guys are not backing down. They might go too wide all the way till turn 11.
Side by side into the S's on the rumbles. Will wiggle for James. This is so tight. How do you do this at Circuit of the Americas? They're leaving each other just enough room. Luke is wide. Baton's going to take a look at the number 7 as well. But James Houghton is through into second place. He's still wide here. I don't think he's fully committed. Now he is. And he can try to go run down that 3.30. And here comes Rosenberg.
You see Luke dancing around a little bit. I wonder if he has overheated those Falkens a little bit. They are sensitive to temperature if you really start to grind on them. Maybe some of these corners he's going too wide. He's just boiled them over a little bit.
He has been at work this race. So James Houghton has cleared Luke McGrew for second place. Now the goal is catch Eric Magnussen, a new entrant this weekend. We documented his experience in other series, but he's getting a heck of a baptism here this weekend. He's been all through the field. He's been disqualified. He's had top 5s. He's just been running the whole gamut, getting the full experience of Gridlife Touring Cup racing. But now he's leading and has one of the most successful drivers in the series trailing him. But I don't think Houghton's done with Luke just yet.
No, I mean, Luke's car is incredibly slippery down this back straightaway, and he's going to take another look, maybe at least show the nose to make Houghton double guess if he wants to come down to that apex.
And he didn't. Houghton left him room, which is what you'd expect as a GLTC competitor, but he probably didn't need to there, maybe, but left the door open in case Luke had overcommitted. Great respect between these two as they battle for second.
Yeah, and I think this may be an issue with Houghton's mirrors. I was talking to him a little bit after the last race when he made that mistake, or quote-unquote mistake, in turn 12. He just thought that maybe Luke was all the way there, and he has these little convex mirrors that made the car look bigger and more close than it was. So he may be making a mirror change before we get to CMP.
Yeah, now through the carousel, Luke trying to find a way around him. And he's really had Houghton on the back foot all weekend long, and I'm sure James would love nothing more than to go run down Magnussen, but his mission to hold Luke back is not complete just yet, and I don't think it will be. Luke has just been so good. I think what Houghton needs is for Rosenberg to get up there and challenge Luke.
Yeah, absolutely. Let's see how they come out of this final corner. Baton has been there. He just hasn't quite closed up as much as I'd expect with these two fighting. I'd expect him to be closing up, but maybe he just doesn't quite have the pace there. I know he's still trying to figure a lot of things out with that car. He's got that little duckbill spoiler that he's retrofitted for the weekend, but probably still chasing a few items on that car with the setup.
Eric Jensen's up to 5th place. He's had a nice climb himself, so he's having a pretty decent race back there. And got past Tony Marchev, now down through turn 2 once again. James Houghton and Luke McGrew, these two have been the stars of the show in the Lone Star State, haven't they, Matt? They've been putting on the show. But Eric Magnussen, I think he'd be all right not getting talked about much if he could just put these two way back in the rear view and not have to worry about it.
Yeah, I think the biggest Luke McGrew fan out there right now is probably Magnussen, cheering him on to keep chasing down Houghton and harassing Houghton. The more they can do that, the more he'll be able to just put in clean laps and try to get to the checkered flag.
This would be a statement for Magnussen as well to come into your first GLTC weekend and snag a victory. And it hasn't been a smooth weekend for him necessarily. So to overcome all of that and still grab a win is a great way. And again, that invert, taking advantage of it, you have to capitalize, Matt. And you know as well as I do that those inverts don't come often. When they do, you have to capitalize. These wins will factor in and matter, especially with Magnussen in the full season effort this year.
Yeah, I actually did not know he was going to be doing the full season until chatting with him just before this race when he was going to grid. It'd be great to see him all along the eastern seaboard and across the Midwest and all the Gridlife events. It'd be great to race with him.
Luke is going to give the 41 a shove, bump drafting NASCAR style down here into 12. And look at James close in on the 3.30. So battle for the lead is now 3 cars deep into turn 12. So here comes the 41 K2 TSX, and now Magnussen's got those cars a lot larger in the rear view now. And what he's going to be praying for is that white flag.
I think Houghton and McGrew have figured this out. We need to stop battling with each other and focus forward. Let's catch up to Magnussen. We're wasting too much time, and so they're starting to work together a little bit. They're good friends outside the race car. There may have been some hand signals that, hey, give me the bump draft forward. So they're starting to work together.
And it's immediately worked. I mean, they were back at 10, 15, 20 car lengths in one straightaway of working together, and this is where they are. Magnussen covering off the opportunity for James to sneak up the inside of the carousel, but Magnussen is going to hope that we get the white flag, and we could get it very, very soon. Magnussen's out a little bit wide. That might be a little too wide there. Have to watch out, because the worst thing would be to win this race and get it pulled away for being out of bounds.
Yeah, absolutely.
Whoa, you see the hands, the white gloves.
He's shaking it, trying to keep it in balance.
And I did not see a white, so yeah, we're going to be at least 2 laps to go, and this is not looking good for Magnussen. Now look at this, 1, 2, 3, BMW, Acura, Corvette lined up. Here comes James to the inside, a bit of a move there by Magnussen, and here comes James way deep into one. He's not going to make the corner, and Magnussen will take the lead back away.
I wonder if that reaction messed up his braking a little bit. I know Houghton doesn't have any ABS on that car, so the extra move maybe he had to maybe lock him up a little bit to get away.
Yeah, James had to chase him across the road a bit, and by the time he had it straightened out, no way that thing was going to stop. But now Luke McGrew has got one in the crosshairs here. Eric Magnussen, nose to tail, through the S's. And we've still got at least 5 miles of racing left to go, so he's going to have to get very busy. And those rear tires on that BMW are not happy. We saw the gloves shaking the wheel around, trying to grab purchase on the pavement here at Circuit of the Americas.
Yeah, I think when I was standing next to his car earlier, he is on those Falkens, and we've said it multiple times. Those tires do not like to be beat to death. They may be good over the first 3 laps, and then after that, you're going to start taking care of them a little bit more. It looks, here comes McGrew on the inside to 12.
Really shallow line. I don't know if Luke can make that work. Very tight line here. This is going to give James an opportunity to run both of them back down, side by side up the straightaway here.
Let's see if he gets enough in front of him where McGrew has to tuck back in. It looks like he's just going to be side by side. That Corvette may be slippery enough, but he's just going to keep pulling away.
Yeah, that car is not loud. Look at the speed that he has there. The rear wing slowing that 330 down. Again, that's an advantage in some areas and a big disadvantage here. So Luke McGrew takes the lead back away from Eric Magnussen. From 5th to 1st in this race, and James Houghton now needs to set his sights on both of these cars if he wants to win the race this weekend.
Man, the way this just shook out, and now Luke leading this race, he's going for that sweep. He wants to be in that record book in GLTC of the few people who have done it.
It's not often that it happens, and it takes a very, very good weekend of driving and a very good weekend mechanically to pull that off. There. But yeah, it's struggling still. If he can put a lap together, I think he could be gone. But Magnussen's still close enough to take advantage of his slippery slot.
Let's see how they're doing. Spreading out a little bit here near the front. Let's see how he can catch up to him in some of these corners here.
Yeah, and James, I think, probably a little hot after getting the brakes woed up down there at turn 1 the last time around. And again, generally the rules on defensive driving, you can make a move, but generally not braking across the road might be a little bit more than you typically would want to do to a competitor in GLTC. So James is probably going, hey man, let's go in there straight next time as the white flag waves. 1 lap to go here at Cota.
Yeah, we'll have to take a look at that one on a replay to see if it was a reactionary move, etc. So generally in GLTC, we don't like to see someone pop out and then you react to kind of move and block their lane if you're trying to take.
So 1 lap to go, 3.5 miles, 20 turns here in Gridlife Touring Cup. And again, Luke McGrew is one of the drivers also going for a season championship and has a full season effort as far as doing the minimum number of rounds to count for full points. James Houghton is as well, Matana Rosenberg is as well, so all 4 of those drivers are. The 184 of Eric Jensen has dropped down the timing, unfortunately, so I hope he's just had something easy, something like a tire flat or something, because you don't see him anymore in the top 5 like he was.
That would be truly unfortunate. I think he had a string of unfortunate races.
Oh no, there he is.
That's unfortunate. He had a series of unfortunate events last year, and it just breaks my heart to see that.
Yeah, Eric is he's a hard-working guy and does a lot to get that car running and keep it running, and well, at least it's rolling back to the paddock. That's the good news, but it would be better if it rolled back after the checkers in the fall. Now, last couple of corners here, half a lap to go as Luke McGrew sets his sights on 4 for 4 here this weekend. We're not done for second though, Matt. Here comes James.
Yeah, you can see that big TSX standing out behind that BMW. It looks like Magnussen's going to take that inside line and make Houghton go around the outside. They're going to go for the brakes here. Let's see if Houghton can keep it under control of that ABS.
That might have been a mistake. I think James would have struggled on the inside line. Magnussen's in there really deep, and he's not going to make the corner. Lock up, and here comes Houghton.
Great move by Houghton, kind of pressuring him into having to brake absolutely as late as possible to try to defend the position. Saw that he was coming in a little bit too hot, let him go by, and was able to complete that overrun.
Yeah, James Houghton taking advantage of that, and that's why I said that inside lane, if he had left it open, maybe James would have done the same exact thing. We almost saw him do it against Luke McGrew earlier today. He just kept it from locking and on the road, but it's a challenging proposition. That corner radius is so tight. If you get put on the inside, you have to get slowed down. It's critical. It's just hard to do. Last couple of corners for Luke McGrew out of Hurricane, West Virginia. And many weekends he is a solo effort as far as how he shows up to the racetrack. He's got friends that here in the paddock that help him out. But Luke McGrew has been a one-man show here this weekend. He hasn't led all the laps, but he has won all of the races. Maybe not all the battles, but he has won the war. Luke McGrew wins race 4 and all 4 races here at Circuit of the Americas. Magnussen drops to 3rd behind James Houghton, and it's Matan Rosenberg in 4th place. And for 5th, this is going to be a drag race to the checkers between Cathers and Marchev, and I think Cathers got him.
I wonder if Marchev had some problems there. There's almost...
Yeah, he did get him by a 10th. Man, what a battle there at the end for James Cathers to steal that one. That's heartbreaking for Tony, but absolutely finishes the finish. And then Brian Tyson finishing with that brake issue that he had earlier, then Corey Mitchell in the number 79. There's Adam Wood out of New Mexico, Vitas Aronauskis, and Kelly Bryant, which should be the last car to come back to the checkers. But Matt, another fantastic race at the front. But man, it was just... The freight train of Luke McGrew has been hard to stop this weekend.
Yeah, absolutely. He has this. He has his setup figured out. He has the car figured out. He has the track figured out. It didn't come easy. There was a couple of starts where maybe he didn't have the best start and he got shuffled backwards a little bit, but then he kind of got resettled in and focused forward and was able to get back through the field. So he's done a fantastic job. So hats off to him this weekend. He's probably the 3rd person so far I think who's now swept a full GLTC weekend.
Like I said before, it does not happen often, and that is something to be proud of. And these cars and these season efforts take a lot of effort. James Houghton's got a full race team down here, and they put a lot of work and effort. They actually helped Luke this weekend as well. So the camaraderie here in the paddock is like nothing else as well. So I'm sure James will be the first one to go congratulate Luke after this weekend. Luke is just put on a clinic. I don't know if it'll be the same story at Carolina Motorsports Park next month, Matt, because we always talk about horses for courses, and I'm not sure, Luke Stallion is best set up for that track, but we'll see how it plays out.
Yeah, I've talked to him a little bit about this. So that course, there's going to be a bit more handling elements versus some of these long straights. Where this car really pays off is at the end of that long back straightaway, where you don't have the wing, you don't have the extra weight, and it's just super slippery through the air. This is the longest straightaway we're going to run all year. This track has 3 of the longest full throttle sections that we would see all year, all on one track. So that high horsepower slippery setup really works, and some of the other competitors that may show up at Carolina Motorsports Park with more handling oriented setups may work. So he may need to bring that wing and staple it back on the car.
And when he does that, that'll change his competition balance and things. It'll change the weight, it'll change the handling of the race car itself beyond just what performance additions you get from the wing. So that could absolutely change the calculus here for Luke at the next handful of events. We'd expect to see Houghton, we expect to see Magnussen, Rosenberg, Cathers, and more all at CMP next month. So this is really just the first round of many in a championship hunt for 2024. But despite the absence of champion Jeremy Swenson, this is going to be a hard championship to wrestle away from Luke McGrew, I think.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, he was very impressive once he got all the car figured out last year. I think it took him a minute to kind of get some of the setup and some of those things dialed in, and he was playing with tires. Now he's on Falkens versus the Nexans for rule changes, but he just seems to have it figured out. He's driving super well. He's confident. We'll see how he does. It looks really positive for him. It's a great start.
Yeah, James said casually perfect, and this weekend was perfect for Luke McGrew. Qualifying first, race 1 first, race 2, 3, and 4 all first. That was a great weekend of racing, though, Matt. And the best thing is everyone is going to get to load their car back on the trailer.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, there's a lot of these competitors are from far off places. Houghton from Canada. I know McGrew is from West Virginia, so there's long drive home. People will be able to get their stuff back in the trailer and get on the road tonight, and then be ready for 4 weeks later when we're at Carolina Motorsports Park. And it's going to be tough championship to wrestle away from Luke, but I'm going to go there and try to give it my best as well. And I think there's a lot of other GLTC competitors that are home that are watching this that want to have their shot.
I was going to say, you're going to be at CMP also, so it's going to, again, change the calculus of who we're going to see up at the front there. What a great battle, though, all weekend long. A 20-car grid is actually one of our smaller grids for the season, Matt, but the quality of the racing was certainly not diminished with that smaller field. So very, very excited to head into South Carolina next month and continue this championship.
Yeah, it should be a lot of fun. That event was the first time we were at Carolina Motorsports Park last year. The number of spectators that came out was phenomenal. They're knocking down trees. They're paving more. more parking lot for us. So it'll be really exciting to go out to that event. Have music going, the drifting going, the time and attack going, and then obviously more GLTC. So if you haven't been to a Gridlife event, I highly suggest coming on out.
Yeah, big thanks again to Superlap Battle for having us here this weekend. It's always a pleasure to jump on and kick our season off here in the Lone Star State. So big thanks to the entire crew at SLB and the stream crew as well. And hopefully we'll see you again next year. Thanks so much. Thanks for watching GLTC, and more time attack action coming your way in just a moment.